Good morning. This is Cy Quackenbush, ALEX 630, Youth at Risk. This is my Module 4 video presentation for Texas A&M University. I just wanted to, before we jumped into the first slide, just talk about a little bit about bullying and how important it is to me. I don't know why. I guess it's just the way I was raised. Growing up. I had I had younger sisters and younger cousins, and I was just kind of always the oldest one, so I was in charge of taking care of everybody. Um, I have an aunt that has Down syndrome. I've talked about it in my first module, Module 1 for this class, and I think maybe it all started there. I saw a little bit of bullying with her, and it's not her fault. There's a lot of things that a lot of people have that just they have no control, and there's nothing that you can do about it or they can do about it. So it just makes me feel really bad for them to be in a vulnerable spot or to have their feelings hurt. So I just have always been a big supporter of anti-bullying, and I have no problem having growing up having lunch or sitting next to or hanging out or anything like that with anybody that wasn't the norm or wasn't extremely popular. Um, I was class president my freshman, sophomore, and senior year in high school. I was, vice president of student council. I was very much into the groups in school that you kind of bring everybody in and you include everybody and you try to find everybody's potential. So bullying has always been something that's extremely important to me to prevent and intervene. So we'll move on to my first slide. The importance and relevancy of bullying today. And as you can see, I mean, I took a lot of stuff off of the website. My PowerPoint is more of an infographic. Just kind of talk through some of these things. My references are at the end of the slideshow. And wow, was there just lots of really good information out there. I almost got a little carried away. I had to really delete and try to pick some of the things that I thought were more important for our class. And hopefully, I know a lot of you are teachers or, and deal with youth now. Some of this stuff I think you can absolutely use in your classroom or part of a committee or something. Some of the things that I think really stood out was, like this first one, attendance. 18.5% of 12 to 17-year-olds skipped school because of being bullied. I mean, that is just it's a very large number. And you're going to definitely get some more numbers throughout the slideshow that you can really reflect on. Bullying, here's all sorts of different words, what bullying means. We have cyberbullying, we have assault, embarrassment, and embarrassment's always been a really hard one for me. I think the way I was raised, you don't you don't try to make someone feel little or look bad in front of everybody because I certainly wouldn't want to be in that position myself. And I think a lot of the things that I do when I think about this and including other people and being part of intervention groups for people. I was a school teacher for 3 years. Is that embarrassment? Like, man, you just don't want people to feel out of place or to look bad. And I mean, again, it just comes back to why I think this is extremely important. When you reference the chapter, a lot of the stuff that I put on my slideshow, is detailed in more verbiage in the chapter. And I try to go for infographics because I think it works better for me. I think it works better for a lot of people, but certainly myself. So we're going to move over to slide number 2. Or number 3, again, more importance and relevancy in today. And some of these numbers, like, 23% of students are bullied about their weight. 39% is physical. Not everybody has the physical attributes that athletes and stuff have. 58% verbal bullying. Again, and to see that 12% in disability just really, I guess it really bothers me because not everybody not everybody has an opportunity to be the same as everyone else, to look the same, and they can't do anything about it. And to bully them and to be ugly towards them, it's just it's not fair. It's not right, and I'm against it 100%. We'll move on to slide number 4. I think we're going to sit here for a little bit, and I know that you can easily read this for yourself. I thought this and the next slide I think are two of the most important. They really tell us a whole lot, and I'm just going to read the definition of bullying according to this. This is from the Buckfire and Buckfire law firm. I got on their website and searched all throughout it, and they're very big into school districts and bullying and stuff. So it's bullying is a physical, verbal, or psychological attacks or intimidation against a person who cannot properly defend himself or herself. It includes two key components: repeated harmful acts and imbalance of power. I thought that was better. That was the best definition I think of bullying that I had read anywhere, including our book. I think it really sticks out there. It hits it from all angles. The imbalance of power I think was very powerful to end the definition. Intimidation against a person who cannot properly defend himself. It's kind of like that, you know. And again, it goes back to my Aunt Anne and not having the capacity to or the mental capacity to defend herself when people made fun of her, and then just other people as well that have Down syndrome or any type of disability. They don't all have the mental capacity to really defend themselves, and to let them to be able to walk by or to see them and not want to stand up for them and not want to be there for them, and whenever they're just pure love. I don't know. It kind of hurts. It hurts my feelings. It makes me feel bad. Um, 280,000 students are physically attacked in secondary schools each month. Physically attacked. 160,000 students miss school because they're scared about being bullied. And it's astonishing, like how big bullying really is. And it just continued. You hear me talk about my Aunt Anne, and then I move up older, and I get older, and I've always been against anti-bullying. As a high school, in college, anywhere and everywhere I go, I'm always rooting for the underdog. But then when I became a father, it just kind of builds more and more because, I guess every kid probably at one point in time will probably be bullied, according to the definition. But I look at my kids and I teach my kids. I don't know if them being bullied is really going to be a problem. I'm sure it will happen, but I teach my kids. You stick up for everybody. You stick up for anybody and everybody, and it's important to be, to be positive and to be there for other individuals. If you jump over to the on the other side of this page, and you look at 1 out of 4 students will be abused by another youth. 1 out of 5 admit to being a bully or doing some bullying. And then kind of most common types of bullying: hitting, threatening, intimidation, malicious teasing and taunting, name calling, making sexual remarks, stealing or damaging belongings. The list goes on and on and on. Every 7 minutes, a child is bullied. It just makes me feel bad, as a dad. And all we can do is intervene and help promote prevention. 43% of individuals fear harassment in the bathroom. Such a private, personal space, and you have to worry about being bullied in there. Again, I just think these, when this really hits home when you start to read all this stuff, and you just think, man, like this is a huge problem in schools today. I saw it when I was teaching. I hear about it. We hear about it all the time. Very, very important to promote intervention and prevention. We'll move on to the next slide. The impact and some long-term effects, and you can go through these as well on your own. And like I said, they're there at the end of the reference page. What can parents do if their child is bullied? Talk to their teacher. teach them how to handle a bully in a non-violent way, help them display confidence, involve them in activities to help make new friends. What parents can also do is teach their kids that, to treat others how they want to be treated. I mean, it's really not that hard. It's absolutely what I teach my kids. If you want to be treated this way, then this is how you'll treat others. Uh, it shows different types of bullying. There's verbal bullying, physical bullying, social bullying. You know, um just just very informative pieces of information. Um, Possible effects of bullying on the victim: low self-esteem, depression, struggle with or disinterest in schoolwork, which is the schoolwork, going to school, socializing is the foundation of youth and growing up. Increased suicide risk. We see it all too much now, all too much, of kids committing suicide because of some type of attack, some type of bullying, and it's heartbreaking. I mean, what if one of my kids decided to, was getting bullied and didn't tell me, and something they decided to do something to themselves? Like, I don't know how I'd react as a father. And if my kid, oh my goodness, if my kid was bullying somebody to the extent that person thought about committing suicide or did commit suicide, I don't know how I'd be able to handle that either. I would be very mad and disappointed. I would self-reflect, but I mean, I think that's why it's important at such a young age um, to talk to your kids and to teach your children about bullying and the effects of it. Um, Down on the, if you look at the blue long-term effects of bullying, down at the very bottom where the gun's at, it says bullying victims are between 2 to 9 times more likely to consider suicide than non-victims, according to a study at Yale. Extremely, extremely powerful. You look at some of the other things: having a higher probability to abuse drugs and alcohol, um, have lower grades, greater risk of depression, anxiety. Um, 85% of bullying occurs inside of a school. We send our kids to go to a school to learn, to again build on this foundation, and we have to worry about bullying. I'm very, very big on doing things and with my community, and I always have. Like I've said it a couple times. And for Module 5, one of the, you know, I'm becoming involved in Scotty's House, which deals with child advocacy for physical, verbal abuse, and absolutely bullying falls in there as well. And um, I'm just kind of feeding off this. If you're Module 3, I talked about the movie called Wonder. There was lots of bullying involved in that movie on something that an individual had absolutely no say in. I mean, it's not their fault. They didn't choose to be that way. Um, I mean, they're all our kids. They're all someone's kid. Uh, so, a very, very, very important topic. Um, I guess basically this whole class, that's kind of what I've dealt with, was bullying. Youth at risk. It's the first thing I thought of even before I ever even opened the book. Was like, well, I'm going to talk a lot about bullying because it's something that I'm very passionate about. Um, we'll move on to the next slide. Talk a little bit about prevention and intervention. I have two similar slides. Slides 6 and 7 are fairly similar, uh, but this one I thought really hit home. This is from a New Zealand study. It doesn't matter where. I don't think it matters where the study was done. I think it's that good, and this kind of gives adults a plan. And you start first with prepare and plan. You gotta, leadership has to commit to reducing bullying. So that could be parents, that can be teachers, principals, school districts, on and on and on. Then you form a team with a senior leader. You gotta have some type of leadership there. Check school policy and process. Decide how to communicate, consult, and work with students. I think number 4 is a very important part. You have to figure out how to communicate, make people, allow people to understand that what bullying is and how they're being bullied, but also make the bully understand that it's not okay, it's not appropriate. So, that part of that intervention and that prevention is teaching the bully, hey, look, why are you doing this? And let's communicate, let's talk about it. You move on, survey students, consult with parents. I mean, that's absolutely important. I don't know if we do enough of it in society today or in school districts today. Like I said, I taught for 3 years, and I don't think that we consulted and incorporated parents enough. I don't know if that was a school district problem or just a problem throughout the state and country. Undertake an environmental survey, find safe and unsafe places. I mean, you have to know about those. You have to know where those are at. What does all of our evidence tell us? Analysis? Absolutely. All these surveys and all this planning that you're doing and taking from individuals and bullies and the victims and other senior leaders and other people from other different groups, you have to take it. You have to gather that. Then you have to come up with, a plan. Number 9, plan priorities using data, including the 9 elements of bullying free. Consult with staff, students, parents. You go back to that. Then you start to take action. You implement an action plan. I mean, it's no different than any other committee, organization, association. You got to have an action plan. And then you have to regularly check it. You can't just put it into place and then forget about it. Oh, I did great between 1 and 11, but I forget to review it. It has to be sustainable. It's very, very important. The next slide, again, it kind of just very similar to the last slide. Develop a climate for action. Establish a committee. It goes back to that senior leadership. Develop a vision. You got to have that. You have to have that prevention plan. Then you have to collect, analyze, identify exactly what it is, the objective is, and what you're going out of, and then evaluate the plan and then check it. You have to check it. You have to have commitment to review it and to continue to critique it. And you have to understand that everything changes. Not everything changes. That there's change. What works now may be a little bit different. We didn't always have cyberbullying. Now we have cyberbullying. It's gonna, you're gonna have to continue to change and continue to take on surveys and understand that, what's working now may not always work. Yes, there may be a base for it. There may be a foundation, but you're gonna have to continue to redevelop, goals and have obtainable goals and develop that vision and maybe change out some committee members or grow it or make it bigger. Identifying the priorities. You have to continue to do that. It has to continue to grow. And then, I thought that quote was very powerful. Meaningful bullying prevention is dependent upon children, teachers, administrators, parents, and the community working in a partnership. I really like the idea that it brought parents in, but then when it said community, absolutely, because there are people like myself and others, that want to be involved and that having that powerful voice as a community. So it's not just the same old teachers telling you or the administrators or the parents, but now it's as a community, and you build this sense of morale in your community and this positive way of just communicating and socializing and teaching. I mean, a lot of it starts with teaching. A lot of it understanding that there are people out there that aren't the same as you and that have disabilities and they can't do anything about it. And making sure that people understand that, treat people the way you want to be treated. Parents, treat people the way you want your kids to be treated. Parents, treat people the way that you want your kids to treat them. It starts from the very ground up and continues to grow from there. And then the last slide is my references. I think I left the links on here, but this is very powerful. I thought these were some great infographics. Be sure to continue to look at it and maybe do some more research and whatnot. But again, bullying is something that I'm very passionate about. I could probably talk about it forever and ever, or for a very long time. But again, thank you. And this is Module 4, ALEC 630. Thank you.